We look live at Washington. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill will vote today on whether to hold a public investigation into the January 6th attack right there, Capitol Hill, the Congress building. Both parties appeared set to back a commission of inquiry until a political twist from the top Republican in the House of Representatives. Lindsay Duncombe is our senior Washington editor. She has the story for us. Lindsay, good to see you this morning. Top House Rep is Kevin McCarthy, who says now that he will not vote for the probe. Now, what is behind this change?
Well, the official reason is that there's concern over the scope of the commission, what exactly it will investigate. But the big picture here, Heather, is that this is yet another litmus test, a loyalty test when it comes to House Republicans and how they feel about former President Donald Trump. You mentioned this is a bipartisan plan. Republicans and Democrats had agreed what the commission would look like. It would have 10 members, 5 Republicans, 5 Democrats. They would have subpoena power, and it's very much modeled after a similar commission in the wake of the September 11th attacks, the 9/11 commission. And then McCarthy said he wasn't going to vote for the plan, and he put out a statement explaining why, saying, given the Speaker, meaning Nancy Pelosi's short-sighted scope that does not examine interrelated forms of political violence in America, I cannot support this legislation. And what he means by that is that McCarthy, echoing things we've heard from former President Donald Trump, wants to see the scope of the investigation include looking into Antifa, looking into any violence that came from the protests against systemic racism in the United States that took place last summer. And when McCarthy made this statement, a top Democrat responded by saying this.
This is a truly bipartisan commission, negotiated in a bipartisan way.
And he also went on to say that McCarthy was weak and cowardly, someone who's afraid of Donald Trump. So some political name-calling there, Heather. There could be consequences for McCarthy if the commission goes ahead as planned, of course, because we learned in the impeachment hearings that McCarthy actually took a phone call from Donald Trump while the attack was happening. So very much the focus could be on the contents of that phone call as well. This vote is expected to pass the House, of course, because Democrats do control the House. But what will be really interesting is how many Republicans decide to go with the original bipartisan plan to look into this, and how many Republicans decide to go with their leader who wants to see a different kind of investigation.
And then, of course, beyond the House, moving on to the Senate, where do things stand with Republicans there?
Well, it's uncertain, and that's interesting because we are seeing, when it comes to Donald Trump, this divide. You know, there's certainly fervent support with many House members, not as much when you look towards the Senate. And Mitch McConnell said that he's very open to voting with, or at least open to voting for a commission like this. Here's what he had to say.
I think I'm safe in characterizing our conference as willing to listen to the arguments about whether such a commission is needed.
Now, what we're seeing throughout all of this is Republicans grapple with what is true when it comes to the motivations for those attackers on January 6th and the degree to which Donald Trump was responsible for it. And, you know, the way this commission, should it go forward, will operate will really kind of lay out Americans' narrative as how this is going to be seen in history.
Thank you, Lindsay. Lindsay Duncombe, our senior Washington editor.